Hello, what's up, everyone? What's up, everyone? So, Taylor, it's been like a year or so probably since we talked, right?
Since Miami, I don't think we've
Yep.
talked.
Yeah, which was a year ago today, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, because we had it earlier. We had it in
Yep.
March.
Yep. Cool. Sweet. Well, yeah, Taylor back in the day, he was a big inspiration for me, and we've been pretty good friends for the past couple of years around selling Amazon. He has an awesome story. We're gonna dig in on all that here. If you're watching the recording, probably best to jump ahead a few minutes just prior to getting kicked off with everything. Our friend Avery is going to join too as well. But yeah, so good to have you here, man. And yeah, it's fun stuff, man. Fun stuff here
Absolutely. Yeah.
as everything. So, what do you think of last year's seller conference?
Dude, honestly, every year is better than expected. My favorite part of last year was just the absolute hunger that I noticed with people in the hallway wanting to freaking chop it up and talk to everybody. Like, it just felt like no one could get enough. Like, everyone wanted to connect with everyone, you know?
Yeah,
So
good times as well. And so it was not that long ago that you were working at Xerox, right?
2020, I quit.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
Actually,
so 5 years ago, probably almost 5 years ago to the day, right?
the day, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, guys. So our friend Avery, who's joining too, and Taylor, they do a lot of traveling as well as selling on Amazon. So we got lots of they got both got really good stories. So we'll dig in on all that here. So I like to hop on and answer any questions you guys got and talk through their stories and everything too. It's really fun. I like bringing up diverse perspectives around selling on Amazon because you obviously have a very different way of going about things than I do and everything like that on a thing. But let us know who's here in the chat too. I see we got Serge here as well. We got Telly there with a bushier beard than normal, but a nice crispy photo there as well. And our friend Avery is going to join here in a sec as well. But yeah, so Taylor, can you take us back? So walk us through kind of your story and everything like that, because I love hearing your guys and Avery's story, or your and Avery's stories specifically, because they were very instrumental for me back in the day, showing me that this was something that I could really do and everything like that.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's cool to see how every generation approaches the business. I'm turning 30 this year, and then you got your generation, which is like, you know, early 20s, and then we got the kid people that are 40 and beyond. And everyone, I feel like every generation brings a different thing to the Amazon game. And I mean, when I graduated with a business degree, what I saw as the opportunities in the world versus like where I was, like just it felt totally out of whack. And so that started the journey for me really back in 2018 of trying to figure out how can I make money and not have to be a slave to a 9 to 5. And then so I was in and out of sales jobs all of 2019 and just unhappy, had bosses I didn't like, was making 50, 60K a year. And then when I saw a couple Gary V videos and a Reezy video about flipping stuff. I don't know what it was, but there was something that just clicked in my brain that was like, this makes total sense. Like I could do this. And so I went to a TJ Maxx, flipped a couple t-shirts, and then it went to books. I flipped a couple books. And then, dude, I was in and out of Walmart and Target for 2 years, just grinding 8, sometimes 10 hours a day. And thankfully, I met Avery, and he sort of got me thinking differently. And then we started the conference, and I met all of these people, delegating and scaling, and fast forward to my first year, I made 30 grand in 2020 reselling things on Amazon, and year to date, March, I'm at like 1.3 mil this
Oh,
year
year to date just for 2025?
revenue. Yeah,
Oh,
so
holy shit, bro. So you've been working. That's why you haven't been as active on social. So you're doing like 500K a month then, right?
just like 450. Yeah, last month we
Oh,
did
damn,
450.
that's crazy, man. See, I didn't even know my boy was about it like that and everything. But yeah, literally, because I remember you as the crazy taking videos, jumping off the cliffs in the Western US and everything and all that. But so people like will I'll have different people on these streams all the time, and like I'll always talk about like the community and the network side of things and everything. And you have a pretty cool story, pretty similar to mine, in that like you and Avery moved in with each other like less than 6 months after meeting each other, probably, right?
Within in 2 months, we moved in.
Which is crazy, obviously. And I'm not saying go do that with someone, but like you met Jameson at a Las Vegas Walmart,
Walmart.
right?
Yeah.
right? And everything. And, I'm like was Avery in your wedding or he went to your wedding?
He was in my wedding. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, man. Isn't that crazy? And dude, with like Garrett's wedding last year too, like I was in Garrett's wedding and everything. It's crazy how, something that seems like a lot of people look at it from the outside as like a way of making money, but for us it's a way of life that happens to provide a lot of good financial freedom and everything too on all that. But it's pretty cool. So you're doing retail arbitrage in 2020. And then talk through what it looks like to, okay, like what do we mean delegating? What do we mean scaling up the business, getting a warehouse, getting prep centers? Like talk through that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, when you're starting out with RA, everyone tells you start with RA, start with OA. I don't even necessarily think that that's the best advice anymore, because RA and OA, and I haven't done it in years, but I tried to launch a store just to help my brother out. And I did a few days of OA, bro. I couldn't find a single lead, and I hadn't been in the trenches in a couple of years. But I'm like, damn, this ain't the same way as it was. And so when I transitioned from OA to wholesale in 2023, it was daunting. Like my wife was trying to get me into it because she knew that was the path, and I was just skeptical. Like, I don't know, like, and finally, I just sort of took the leap of faith and jumped in, but luckily I had Kingpin. I was really
Hey, yeah. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. Shout out Kingpin for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have found a lot of the success I have today if it wasn't for him mentoring me and sort of putting me on a lot of the game. And he was put on by Amazon Lit, right? So it all trickles down, and the transition was hard. Like, I mean, I was reaching out to 30, 40 suppliers via email and phone for several months in a row, before I really found anything worth using. And then when I finally did, I was selling one or two brands. August of last year, literally 6 months ago, Amazon, I wake up in the morning, Amazon's like, hey, you can't sell that brand anymore. So I was freaking out. 90% of my business I got gated in. And so that's when, 6 months ago, I'm like, all right, I want to go all in on private label. And now I got 2 trademarks, and I'd say half my business is private label and half is wholesale. But really, I think the biggest thing that's going to be able to take you to the next level is find people that are already doing the numbers or the business model that you want to do, and get in their circle, find a way to befriend them. And if you're not a complete idiot or a loser and you find a way to like add value and, befriend someone, people in the community are like eager and willing to help.
And yeah, it costs no money too, dude. And then I remember like when I was getting started, like the cool part about what I always like to say is my second month was worse than almost everyone's watching this will be or was, right? But the key is like, we'll talk when Avery gets in here too, but like people just flocked to help me because I gave them a chance to, man. I was out there, I was posting what I was doing, I was posting what I'd messed up, what worked, what didn't, etc. And so people were just like, yo, like, dude, why are you overpaying for those boxes? Like, why are you still going into thrift stores? You can get books a different way. Or why are you still doing retail arbitrage when you can do online arbitrage and everything, right? And all it's like, you just can't be invisible. You know what I mean? You can't be invisible, or you just forever have to work a lot harder, make less money, and have less fun than the people that do, right? So Freddie says, I'm having trouble getting ungated in anything, right? Luckily, Freddie, you can go and plug in Cuddle Duds and J. Crew and Stafford and some of these different brands. You hit request approval and apply to sell, and they're going to let you list them today. And then in terms of getting denied for certain ungates that do request documentation, that's totally normal. Typically happens 5 to 10 times per brand. You'll get approved on everything with that. Do you have peace of mind when it comes to wholesale, like not having to come after you for IPs or Section 3s? Well, Section 3 isn't necessarily due to what items you're assigned. That's just a routine review. But talk about like the peace of mind that comes from private label, where Taylor's creating his own listings on Amazon. He's not doing reselling, which is what I talk about. Reselling is way easier to get into, harder to scale. Private label is easier to scale, way harder to get into, and a little bit more risky to start, right? But talk about what that looks like, Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, it's when just with all the changes, I mean, in 2020, you could go to a Walmart and half the store was profitable, and it's not quite that same way anymore. Look at this good looking guy.
Cheers.
Facts.
Morning.
It's not
Taylor with my backup. Just payback, Taylor.
Hey, I was on time. Luckily, I just got out of the shower. But yeah, saying was like, I had someone jump on my listing the other day, and I messaged them. I'm like, hey, like, I'm going to give you 24 hours and my trademark's still pending. You can get brand approval within 2 weeks. Just pay the $1,000, make your own listing. Within 2 weeks, you can literally kick people off your listings. And, the first few products you launch aren't going to do good, but PPC is powerful. I mean, I'm spending 30 grand a month on PPC right now. And when you crack the code on that, you can scale so fast. Like, it's insane.
You got to teach me PPC, bro.
Yeah, it's hard, but once you find something, it's pretty amazing.
Yep. All right. So Avery here, Romer. So we're titling this "How to Sell on Amazon and Travel the World with Romer and Taylor," basically, right? Because you guys are kind of my guys for that. Avery was one of the first people that I ever found online that was selling on Amazon, and he's been a big part of like me getting started and stuff back in the day. And there's a
I
YouTube
take all
video
credit for his success, guys. I mean, he should give me half of his net worth.
Yeah. So literally, Avery was like one of the guys in my DMs in that I was in his DMs answering questions and stuff like that back in the day and everything. But Avery, just you want to give us kind of quick summary of your story and everything too, because it's definitely a cool one that I always
I mean, claim to fame is I started selling textbooks when I was in college, started selling them for my wrestling teammates, and then became like the textbook guy on campus. Took a $700 loan from my dad, turned that into like $1,000, $1,400. Then I coached wrestling, and they paid me like $1,300 for like 3 months of hard work. And I was like, this is bullshit. I'm going to travel the world and sell on Amazon, because what worked for me was flipping books. And I saw Reezy and Caleb Roth were making money driving to thrift stores and libraries. And I was like, this sounds like a scam, but I'm going to try it out. And after like a few thrift stores, I cracked the code on like, I just found out if I scanned thousands of books, I would be able to find at least 50 to 100 a day, ship them to Amazon FBA. And so I lived in my car, traveled to California, went up the Pacific Coast Highway before all that burned down out there. It was crazy. And then, that's how I started my journey. I networked a lot, went to some book selling conferences. And I mean, I really did. It changed my perspective from this being like a side hustle to like seeing people do this full time. Seeing people build software companies in the space and make a lot of money doing that. Seeing people like this girl from MIT was flipping textbooks.
I remember.
Yeah, years later, I ended up buying her account and getting it shut down. So we were doing business together. And, that's how it all started. And then, really 3 years in the game, we did Miami Sellers Conference, which is crazy because I felt like such a veteran then. But in hindsight, I only had 3 years of experience. And met Taylor on TikTok, and then Chlorine popped off, and then other opportunities came up. So
remember that 7-footer that like threatened you and tried to steal from you and everything?
Jason, 7-foot Jason. Miles came in, had my back. Taylor's ex-girlfriend had my back. Everybody was
good times. Oh, dude, that's you remember the kid who introduced you to him? I'm meeting up with him next month, actually.
He followed the Miami Sellers Conference page. What's his name? Iron?
Yeah, I think. It's like weird. Him and I have been sharing locations with each other for like 5 years in a row, but I don't even have his contacts.
Yeah, I think it's AIRON, I think.
I think, yeah, now that I think about it. Yeah. So also, how many countries have you guys been to? Because I really exclusively, for the most part, because it's my personal experience, talk about selling on Amazon as like a financial freedom vehicle. But you guys have not only got the financial freedom from it too, but you've also traveled to a shitload of countries too. So how many countries have you guys been to? And with the newfound freedom you got from selling on Amazon, right? And everything. But yeah, what all countries have you guys been to?
Taylor might know the number. I think mine's 10 now that I'm in China.
Yeah, I thought I was like 13, but I don't really remember. I'd have to count them up.
Yeah, I don't feel like counting.
Let's come out at least. Okay, Costa Rica, I know that one.
Okay, if you count Puerto Rico.
Yeah, Costa Rica, Belize, USA, Canada. Then we got Mexico, Italy, Greece, Spain, Guatemala.
Croatia, Spain and Guatemala.
Japan, the Philippines, Bali. So 13.
Right, so 13. Boom. There we go. Right. So that's not bad. And literally just a couple of years ago, literally in like 2018, 2019, I was in college. You guys Avery was coaching wrestling. Taylor was working at Xerox, slinging printers or whatever Xerox sells. and everything. So these guys provide a really good different perspective compared to what I normally talk about. I pretty much exclusively talk about it from like a financial freedom vehicle perspective, but these guys have been able to travel too. So when most people think about selling on Amazon, at least when you initially do it, you don't really think of it through the frame of how you could travel full time doing it and everything like that. So break down what you guys have in place that allows you to go ahead and do that. And not only from like a location freedom perspective, but also from a time freedom perspective with virtual assistants too.
Avery, you want to?
Yeah, I mean, I read The E-Myth years ago, which is a book about creating systems and like separating yourself from your business. So even when I had my book business, I was like, I don't want to be with like working in my business all the time. So even with my book business, most people like never remove themselves from their book business, but I built mine in a way where books came to us, our listers would list them up, and then the FBA would handle the rest. And so I just removed myself from having to touch the inventory and source the inventory. Like once you do that, you're good. And even with like RA, I delegated all of it. 7 Foot Jason was running out getting chlorine for me back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day.
And then some wholesale opportunity came up, and wholesale is the best because you just ship it either from the wholesaler to the prep center and then to Amazon, or directly to Amazon. That's even better. And so now that's what we do. And then FBA is really, really amazing. Like I have like kind of like a new lens in how amazing it is, because in the book world, the used buy box went away for a few days. Like the FBA sellers were not winning the used buy box for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe. And I was like, man, like, dude, in 2018, even like a few weeks ago, like FBA was such a good opportunity for booksellers, and everyone was complaining about how bad it was. Like, oh, fees, blah, 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 this and that. I'm like, you guys get to pack inventory in boxes, ship it to Amazon, and they do the rest of the work. But that opportunity seemed like it was gone because the buy box wasn't being awarded to the low FBA seller, but now it is. And it was like a glitch or whatever. And the fact that that's back made me think of like, how blessed are we to be able to pack items in boxes, ship them to Amazon, and Amazon like literally stores and holds all of them. I don't even know how many boxes I would have from all my wholesale inventory. I don't even know what it would look like, but it's probably pretty big, probably at least a couple rooms, you know? So that's kind of how I delegated everything. I think Amazon FBA is extremely easy to delegate unless you're doing something like bulk books. I think that's the hardest to delegate, but even then I think you could delegate it if you just, you know, make the intention.
Yeah. And so another thing that I had asked Taylor was like talking about the value of the community and finding other sellers to work with. And you were the one, you and Gary Vee and Reezy really showed me that I needed to do that. Right. But talk about what that looked like for yourself. And then let's break down the blueprint for the Amazon seller that knows they need to do that, but they've done quite literally zero. Right. So talk about like the community and social media and content and what that's done for you. Cause I sound like a broken record talking about it. Right. Cause I have from all my coaching guys, I have ultimate context around the people that work the least, make the most, and have the most fun. And it's all the guys and gals that work together. Right. But talk about what's that done for you specifically. Cause that's like my favorite part of this is just how much that expedites success and how you can use that as a tool to really enjoy this stuff and make a bunch of cash.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally made everything in my business. Like my book business, for those of you that don't know, I was running like a sketchy book business back in the day before like Section 3s and stuff, where I was having everyone send me their textbooks and I would sell them on multiple accounts that were ungated in textbooks. How'd I find those accounts? I networked with people. I convinced a girl from MIT to let me sell on her account. I convinced, someone from Scout IQ to let me sell on their account. So I was like selling on all these people's accounts, and it was because of my network. And then as time went on, I wouldn't know anything about the wholesale opportunity I do now. I wouldn't know anything about the private label opportunity that I'm pursuing now. I wouldn't have my developer for GoToList or my partner. I wouldn't have met you, Miles. I wouldn't have met anybody. Like you DM'd me when I was in Philadelphia. And the only reason why you DM'd me was because I was with Caleb and I was posting my journey on social, me fucking listing books in the storage unit. And you were like, hey, can we meet up and get a Philly cheesesteak? And so like, if you just put your energy out there in the world via the camera, if you're able to do that, or just like write if you can't, or take pictures, or like you always say, take pictures of boxes. Like if you just put that energy out there in the world over and over again, eventually you're going to meet like-minded people. That's how I met Taylor. I was in Miami living in the Icon, and all of a sudden Taylor kept popping up on my phone. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And it kind of pissed me off. So I DM'd him. I'm like, dude, let's shoot a podcast. Because I thought he was like a fake guru. Because like that was before like everyone was like really popping off with like Amazon FBA. There wasn't a whole lot of us. And Taylor was like killing the algorithm. And then we became best friends after that. And we've done a lot of business together. So like, it's just like, go out, do shit, talk to people, go to events, pay to go to events, go to the free events, make your own event. Like, that's it.
Yeah, and the way I like to frame it, right, is that like the people in your life determine the results you get, right, with anything, right? If you hang around a bunch of buff guys, you're going to get buffer than the guy who hangs out with a bunch of skinny guys. If you hang around a bunch of rich guys, you're going to make more money than the guy who hangs out around a bunch of poor guys. So don't expect selling on Amazon to be easy when no one in your life sells on Amazon. Luckily, you have a choice to change that very, very easily, right? And so besides Discord, okay, where would you recommend finding people to talk with? Social media, right? Does that require not giving a fuck what people think? Yes. Does that require doing something every day and not seeing immediate results? Yes. Right. But there's a reason you go to the sellers conference or you listen to the Buy Box Bandits podcast, and every experienced seller is just like, yeah, like we buy products that are cheap, we're selling for more, and I do it with a couple of my friends I met online. That's what these guys will tell you. That's what I'll tell you, right? So it's just very, very difficult when you don't have anyone in your life that sells on Amazon. Is it doable? Of course. Are you going to work harder than other folks? Yes. Are you going to make less money than other folks? Yes. Are you going to make more mistakes than other folks? Yes, right? Because the guys who get the seats at the table are the people that give themselves a chance to get. So that's why I always recommend the best place to start is just documenting what you're doing on social, right? Document what you're doing on social. Algorithms are good. Follow people, engage in the community, right? And everything. And it just give yourself so much upside, because if you don't do that, you pretty much guarantee that you're never going to have anyone in your life that sells on Amazon outside of the randomly, maybe you find someone IRL, which is very unlikely based on my 6 years of experience, basically. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Now, but you know enough to get 20 orders in a day, so now you get the ball rolling with that stuff and everything, right?
Well, I'm sure you meet a lot of people in real life now just because you're like famous on YouTube. Like when I go to the library sale, I'm famous. People just recognize me scanning shit, you know? So it's like
in public, Miles.
Like once a month typically. Yeah, but only in like the heart of Miami though. Like never anywhere else. Yeah. Never anywhere else. Yeah. Yeah, only in like the real life.
Andrew Tate back in Miami.
I did see that. Yeah, I did see that.
I thought you saw him.
Yeah. Oh no, Lee, man. Yes, sir. Yeah, Lee's killing it here. Exactly, right?
For governor.
How do you get started doing that? Right. So you create a profile on whatever social media platform you really enjoy, right? And then you add you say what you're doing in your bio, and you post consistently, and you follow a lot of people. And by default, doing that, there is basically no chance that you will have less cool people in your life that are interested in this stuff, right? And that all doesn't cost a dime too, as well. So like, I just bring it up so often because I see it so often. My coaching guys, the ones that make the most, the ones that work the least, the ones that have the most fun, they just work together the same way we did when we were getting started, right? And everything too. So I like really like, you know,
it goes on forever. Like it never stops. You always work together. Like.
Yeah, and relationships compound and everything, right? So like we talk about that all the time, and you guys literally like traveled to Costa Rica together, and you were in Avery, you were in Taylor's wedding, I was in Garrett's wedding, right? And it all just came. Yeah, Sadiq was at the wedding, right? You know what I mean? Like it's a good vibe and everything here, right? And it's I personally, I was just incredibly lonely selling shoes for years without people really caring about and everything. So I had to use the internet to do that. Right. And that just like made it so much more fun, so much more successful, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And I think too, you're much less likely to give up, and you're also more likely to think bigger when you're surrounded by people.
Yeah.
Because like, for example, when I got gated on and 90% of my inventory was gated at FBA literally 6 months ago. And it was Jake Carter. I was texting him on IG, and he's like, dude, just keep resubmitting the invoices. Eventually they'll give it back to you. When he said that, I thought he was crazy, but it gave me a little bit of hope. And boom, I got ungated again in like 3 weeks after just doing it. And if it wasn't for him, I probably would have just gave up, you know?
Yeah.
So
there's also something that happens like with both of you. What happens to me is like, I meet Miles, and then, all of a sudden, I'm no longer just the kid posting on YouTube. Now I have like, oh, this other up and coming kid. And then all of a sudden he fucking takes off. And then my perception of what's possible is like, oh, fuck. Like, no longer am I just looking at random YouTubers that are just talking about Amazon and those people are like out of my wheelhouse. It's like, no, I saw this kid come up from nothing, so I should be doing this shit too. Or like Taylor in his wholesale business, like literally saw him like start it in Puerto Rico, and then all of a sudden, boom, like banking. And I'm like, well, I got no fucking excuse now. And then like that'll happen time and time again. And I think that's one of the most beneficial things of posting your journey online and like putting your neck out there. You have to be humble enough to realize that you are going to meet the whole community. You're going to get exposed to every ounce of talent that's out there. And because of that, if you're a competitive person, now all of a sudden your whole circle is going to be fucking crushing it. And so you better be crushing it too. You better find your path as well. And otherwise, all these people are just like internet people and you never get to meet them. You never really identify with them. But when you go to Miami Sellers Conference or a local meetup and you see some kid that's not doing shit and then 2 years later they are, I think that really affects your brain differently. And I think that's powerful.
Yeah. And that's what I like the best too, is it's like people will say all the time, like, I don't have time to post content. I don't think you have time not to. I don't think you have time not to bring good people in your life. I sure don't have time for that. Right? I sure don't have time for that. And every single time I have significantly more going on in my life than the person saying that typically. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't think you have time not to do things the easy way. Right? And everything, and like all it takes is like two to five good friends. You know what I'm saying? 2 to 5 good friends, right? And your whole life can change. And you're just not going to find people IRL most likely. Some people occasionally do, but you guarantee all those people are online. So you got to put yourself out there and find them and everything. And that's like a super, like, it's actually incredibly simple to do. There's like a button on your phone called the camera. If you're selling on Amazon, you're doing shit every day, right? Talk about what you're doing. Algorithms are good. They'll find people that are that are awesome like that. And there's innumerable examples of that too. And everything. And then so you guys have something cool coming up in about a month and a half, right? That I've been lucky enough to go to for several years in a row, right? And I actually remember I went to the first Miami Sellers Conference. I saw all these guys like walking around doing way more than I was doing. I was doing like 50K a month at a time, right? 50K a month at the time. And then I came home from Miami Sellers Conference and was fed up and did 100K in sales in 2 weeks during back to school, which was double my previous month. Right. So, talk about what Miami Sellers Conference is, when it is, details, et cetera, for anyone who might be interested in being able to, kind of do the advanced networking route and find people, IRL and come to an Amazon Seller Conference where I'll be at.
You got it, Taylor.
So the Miami Sellers Conference, May 1st, it's going to be a 3-day event this year, 2 days in the conference and 1 day on the yacht on Saturday. The yacht's upgraded. We'll have 2 after parties, both Thursday and Friday night. And we're basically, Avery and I started this event back in 2021, and we have done all the hard work of connecting with the best Amazon sellers in the space, retail arbitrage, OA, private label, wholesale. And we pay them money, some of them money, but also we pay for their accommodation and their flights and everything to get them all in Miami the same weekend. I mean, this is a rare thing that this happens, but even more rare is not just do we get them in the same room and the same place for 2 days of the conference after party in the yacht, but it's also the environment that we're able to create where it doesn't feel like this, awkward, corporate-y, I don't really know if I want to talk to anybody. I mean, there's alcohol, the vibes are loose, it's laid back, and it's exciting because everybody wants to make more money, and you can't be in the room and not instantly get excited about making more money. So
yeah, it's really like electric, the energy we have. And like, I like to take credit for or give Taylor credit or whatever, like, oh, it's us that do this, but really it's just all you guys. It's like the whole room. It's all the attendees, all the speakers, like everyone wants to be there. Everyone's so happy. Like everyone has the same mission. Like we all want to create freedom. We all want to escape the rat race. We all want to make more money. And rarely do you get a chance to talk face to face with people about Amazon. And at Miami Sellers Conference, you have like 200 people just like autistically talking about it for now. It's going to be like 80 hours straight or however many hours, like 3 days in a row it is. So super, super pumped for it. And we're trying to maximize the networking time, like the intimate networking at after parties this year. So we're essentially doing 3 after parties: free networking Wednesday night, paid after party at Penthouse. Corey Gannum's hosting that on Thursday night, and then another paid after party Friday, and then the yacht on Saturday. So I think everyone has like the vision of making it and being on a yacht with like their millionaire friends. And what we do is we just like find the millionaire friends for you and put you on a yacht with them in Miami.
And it's an upgraded yacht this year, one that we've never been on. It's going to be amazing. Okay. It's going to be very good. A lot of good people, lots of money. Okay. I promise you'll be very happy.
But in all seriousness, guys, I have no affiliation to Miami Stars Conference. I do like seeing you guys in person, meet you guys in person once a year, and everything. So, like to bring these guys on and talk about their story as well as what they got going on Miami Stars Conference wise, too as well. Because these guys, especially Taylor, we learned a lot together that first year, and that year, 2 years before then, when I was selling books, I learned a lot from Avery back in the day too, as well. If you guys had a book recommendation, what would you give to the people watching? Someone had asked about that in the stream I was doing earlier. I was thinking I didn't really talk about that much, but that was a huge thing for me, was starting to read business books.
Yeah. I mean, the book that probably changed my trajectory the most was The 4-Hour Workweek. Just because it got me to go take that first trip internationally. And it made me rethink, like when you read that book, for me at least, it was like, the way that Tim Ferriss breaks down like making money, it seems silly to keep a job after reading it. So that was the one for me for sure.
Yeah, that's a really good one. There's a book written about it, The Almanac of Naval Ravikant, but the podcast is better. What is it? How to Get Rich?
How to Get Rich. If you just look up, all of you guys, no one would make less money if you go listen to the How to Get Rich Naval podcast. That is
just listen to it like once a year at least. Like it really just ingrains the principles. Yeah, that's such a good, so many good concepts in there.
Yeah, read Rich Dad Poor Dad too is really good, and then Crush It by Gary Vee is a sleeper. Really good book. Yeah, really good book there too.
Especially like if you know you want to post on social media, Crush It is amazing. Yeah, if you don't know you should be posting on social media, go listen to Gary Vee. Like, go just listen to a few of his keynote talks.
Yeah, they're talking about the old setup. Yeah, peep the streams back in the day here, man. Good times here. Look at little G-Body. Look at young Uncle Flips right there too. Come on, man. Oh yes, sir. Taylor in the cut. Yes, sir. Okay, let's find one with Avery too.
I was in Miami.
Let's find one with Avery too here.
Miami cut.
Let's see. Thumbnails are fire.
Oh, then I started customizing a little bit here. Yeah. Oh, we might not. Oh, let's see here. Let's see. Let's see.
That's good. I look exactly the same.
Oldest here. Let's see. There's going to be one with you in here soon.
Who was at the top?
I saw one of me with my fucking suit on back in the day.
Oh, look at this. Here we go.
That's 2021.
Yep.
That's in my room.
Yep. Good times, man. Good fucking times, man. Oh my gosh, man. Good times. Yeah. Yep. Damn, you had the blackout curtains. I remember that. Dude, I drive by that crib like once a month, and I always think of you guys.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. Maybe not once.
Blackout curtains. I had a life coach, Mario Shea, great guy. And,
once a quarter or so, yeah.
I put the blackout curtains up, and then we had a meeting at 1 p.m. in Fort Lauderdale. Dude, I slept till 1:30, and I woke up, and I'm like, this guy thinks I'm bullshitting him right now. And he missed my call the day before. And he's always talking about being a man of your word, being on time, blah, blah, blah. He missed the call the day before. And I'm like, this motherfucker like missed the call. And he's talking about being a man of your word, blah, blah, blah. I go to sleep through the full afternoon because my fucking blackout curtain's at that place. And then I wake up and I call him. And I'm like, this guy 100% thinks I did this on purpose. Meanwhile, Taylor's in the other room like, what is wrong with this guy? Dude, I was staying up. That was back when we were first making Go-To. And I was staying up to like 4 a.m. with these Indians, just yelling at them, and then I would crash and sleep till like 1 every day.
You'd come back from the bar, dude, after 6-7 beers and start working. I'm like, what?
That is crazy.
Wrong with this guy.
All right, so yeah, if you guys are interested in checking out Miami Stars Conference, MiamiStarsConference.com. Links in the description. Is not an affiliate link, but I would love to hang out with you guys in person. And Taylor, where are you right now?
Me?
I'm in China right now.
Yeah, I knew you were in China. Yeah, where are you right now?
I'm in Hawaii.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, because I'm in Pennsylvania and it's dark right now, and like Miami, it's like low key price sunsetting. So yeah, that shows that the Earth is not flat because it's because it gets dark earlier in Pennsylvania than Miami. Yep.
Have you seen the YouTube video where they like they went to Antarctica and like disproved flat Earth or something?
I have no idea about that. I always just like bringing it up because it's I feel like it's good banter because we see the disparity when people are in different locations, especially on the East Coast, like Garrett in PA, me in Miami, etc. Right here. Yeah. What up, Steve? Cool. So yeah, y'all check out MiamiStarsConference.com, and then Avery is actually doing a coaching call with my coaching program guys in like 20 minutes on all things virtual assistants. Where can people follow you gentlemen on social media to see more of your world travels, lives, Amazon stuff, etc.?
I'm here on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah. Rover the Rover, all platforms.
Yep. Yeah, sun just went down. Okay, cool. Hey, Lee, man, we're looking forward to following you on IG too. Y'all have a great night. See you guys soon. Be great. See y'all later.